Okay, today we are going to see about transformers. Okay, some losses, regulations, and efficiency of a transformer. Okay, here uh, first we will be going to see what are the losses present in the transformer. Okay, in a static transformer, there are no friction and windage losses. Okay, uh, you can see transformer in our streets. Okay, these transformers are not going to rotate, they are static in nature. Okay, they just convert the supply voltage and current into another form of supply voltage and current. Okay, the ratio of voltage and current is going to be transformed 1:2 or 2:1. That is going to happen in the transformer. It is not going to rotate. So without rotation, there is no friction or windage loss present in the transformer. Hence, the only losses occurring are the core loss, that is the hysteresis loss and the copper loss. Okay, let us see in details. Okay, first we will be seeing about the core or iron loss. Okay, it includes both hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Okay, because of the core fluxes in the transformers remains practically constant for all the loads. Its variation being 1 to 3 percentage from no load to full load. The core loss is practically the same at all loads. Okay, hysteresis loss WH is uh, efficiency B max 1.6 FV watts, whereas eddy current loss W is equal to power P B max square F square T square watts. These losses are minimized by steel of high silicon content for the core and by using very thin laminations. Okay. Practically, what is meant by a core loss? Okay. If you consider the core of a transformer, if you consider a core of a transformer, it is made up of silicon steel. Okay. This silicon steel is being winded using the primary and secondary windings. Okay, here you are going to input the supply, and here you are going to take out the supply. Okay. Since if the load is connected or not, you have connected the load. Here is a switch. Okay, if you connect the load or you disconnect the load, the input given into the transformer is constant. Okay, here you will provide the voltage of 110 volt, which is a constant. Okay, this is going to be a constant of input. So you can see practically constant because the voltage which you provide in the primary is a constant. So the core loss and iron loss, core depends on the material you are being made. If you do the transformer in silicon steel of high graded, then the core loss will be less. Okay, if the material is very poor in nature, then the silicon content is very less in nature, the core loss is going to be increased at a higher range. So depending on the voltage and the core of the transformer, the core loss is practically a constant. So in core loss, there are two types of losses. One is hysteresis loss and another one is eddy current loss. Hysteresis loss having a formula of WH is equal to efficiency B max 1.6. Okay, B max represents the flux density, a maximum flux density in the core, and F is the frequency and V is the voltage. Okay, and the second part is the eddy current loss. Okay, WE. Okay, here WE represents P is the power and B max is again the flux density and F is the frequency and T is the time. Okay. Sorry, T is thickness of the lamination. Okay, this lamination thickness is depends on T. Okay. These losses are minimized by using steel of high silicon content for the core and by using very thin lamination for eddy current loss. Okay, to minimize hysteresis loss, you should use steel of high silicon content to minimize the hysteresis loss. Similarly, to minimize the eddy current loss, you need to use very thin lamination. Okay, by doing this two precautionary methods, you can minimize hysteresis as well as eddy current losses. Okay. Next, we are going to see about the second type of loss, which is copper loss. Okay, this loss is due to the ohmic resistance of the transformer winding. The total copper loss is equal to I1 squared R1, I2 squared R1 equal to I1 squared R01 plus I2 squared R02. It is clear that copper loss is proportional to current square or kVA square. Okay, because you can see the current present in the primary winding and in the secondary winding is being squared. So the loss depends on the amount of current flowing in the transformer. In other words, copper loss at a half the full load is 1/4 of the full load. Okay. You can see this is the graph representing the copper loss of a transformer, typically having a voltage rating of 75 kVA, power rating of 75 kVA, and the losses versus loads are given in the graph. Okay. Here, the y-axis represents the total losses in watts, and here in x-axis, you are seeing the load of the transformer from 0% load to 100% load, how the losses are being increasing. And the different colors of the graph represent the rise in temperature. The yellow color represents the temperature rise in this range. Okay, you can see this range. And similarly, the other colors also shown. Okay. Next, we will be going to see about the efficiency of a transformer. Efficiency of a transformer at a particular load and power factor is defined as the ratio of output divided by input. Okay. For all efficiencies, you are having the same formula, which is output divided by input. Here, output is the input voltage, and input is also the input voltage. You are going to supply input as a voltage, and you are going to get output as also a voltage. So the input and output are both the same quantities. Okay. Here in input, you are have to supply the output plus losses, because if you supply input, this input should supply output as well as losses. So you know there are two loss. One is copper loss as well as iron loss. Okay. So output divided by output plus copper loss plus iron loss. So on simplifying, you will get the efficiency is equal to 1 minus losses divided by input. Condition for maximum efficiency of a transformer. So here you can see iron loss is equal to hysteresis loss plus eddy current loss. So you know this thing. Okay. So iron loss is equal to WH plus WE. The maximum efficiency can be attained when copper loss is equal to iron loss. So this is the condition when maximum efficiency of a transformer is attained. So in this condition, you have to operate the transformer. So have to attain the maximum efficiency from any transformer you are using. It may be a single phase transformer or a 3-phase transformer. The pi symbol represents phase, okay, single phase or 3-phase. Next, we will be seeing about the regulation of a transformer. When a transformer is loaded with constant primary voltage, the secondary voltage decreases because of its internal resistance and leakage reactance. Okay. If you are having a transformer like this and you are going to supply a voltage in the primary winding as 110 volt, and here you are going to get output of 50 volt. Okay, this is the rating of the transformer. You are going to supply primary voltage of 110 volt, but the transformer in the secondary side, it is giving only 45 volt. Okay, so what is the reason if the voltage in the secondary side has been decreased, irrespective of the primary voltage is constant? The reason is that the resistance present in the windings, okay, as well as the inductance L present in the two windings are the two major reasons which causes the voltage drop in the secondary side of the transformers. So to avoid this, what you have to do is to keep the output voltage constant, the primary voltage must be increased. So this, to make this voltage again back to be 50 volt, you have to give a supply of 115 volt in the primary side of the transformer. So this change in primary voltage from 110 volt to 115 volt is known as the regulation, that is the drop in regulation. So to find the regulation of a transformer, you are having a formula: percentage regulation is equal to V1 dash minus V1 divided by V1 into 100. Here V1 represent the 110 volt and V1 dash represent the drop, that is the increase in new voltage which is being fed into the primary side of the transformer. Okay. Next, we are going to see about the three-phase transformers and auto transformers. Here, three-phase transformers, large-scale generation of electric power is usually three-phase at a generated voltage of 13.2 kV or higher. Transmission is generally accomplished but a higher voltages of 110, 132, 275, 400 and 750 kilovolts. So for a simple example, I will tell you what is happening in the real power station. Okay, you are having a synchronous generator G in the thermal power station. Okay, the generator voltage will be 11 kV. Okay, consider this 11 kV. Okay, you are having a very long transmission line of 100 kilometers. Okay, you are going to supply the power to Madurai. Okay, let us assume like that. Okay, it is in Thoothukudi. You are going to supply power to Tirunelveli. Okay, let us make like this. Okay, and here you are having a small factory over here. Okay, or your house over here in Tirunelveli. Okay, now if you supply this 110 kV directly into the 100 kilowatt line and connect it to your house, what happens here is, you can see the resistance R in the transmission line is equal to rho L by A. Since the length of the line is 100 kilometers, what happens is the resistance of the transmission line is about 10,000 ohms. Okay, assume like this. Okay, what happens here? The current which is flowing in the transmission line will be I is equal to V divided by R. Okay. Now what happens is 11 into 1000, which is 11 kV. Okay, here divided by resistance is nothing but. So what happens is you will be only getting 1.1 amperes of current flowing in the transmission line. So the output here you will be get only 1.1 amperes of current, and in the secondary side voltage, if you measure the secondary side voltage, it will be very lesser. Okay, so V is equal to IR. So if you measure the secondary side voltage over here, the voltage will be very less. Okay, this is one reason you need to use a transformer, because the current is only 1 amperes. It will not sufficient to run any of your household appliances. But in Tirunelveli, there will be several thousands of houses. Okay, so this is the major reason you need to use the transformer. Now let us see what happens when you use a transformer. Okay, here is the same generator of 11 kV. Okay, you are having a transformer, three-phase transformer. it is going to convert the 11 kV into 220 kV. Okay, now you are going to supply the same transmission line of 100 kilometers. Okay, similarly here you will be having another transformer which is step down transformer. Here it will be a step up transformer because it is converting from 11 kV to 220 kV, but here it will be converting from 220 kV to 11 kV. Okay, here you will be having your houses again. Okay, now if you apply the same rule here, you can see the voltage rating is 220 kilovolt. So what happens to the current is equal to I is equal to V divided by R. Okay, so voltage is nothing but 220 kV divided by the rating of the ohms that we have used earlier is this one. Okay, so you will get a current rating of 22 amperes, but in the previous case you only get 1.1 amperes, but here you see you are getting a higher value of current and the voltage corresponding to this will also be higher. So you can run your household appliances here. So this is a very simple example to understand why you need a transformer, that is a three-phase transformers. Okay, now let us move. For the consumers, the distribution voltage still reduced to 400 to 220 volts. Okay, as compared to a bank of single-phase transformers, the main advantage of a three-phase transformer is instead of having three single-phase transformer, you can combine the three single-phase transformer into a three-phase transformer like this. Okay, here the primary windings are connected in star and the secondary windings are connected in open terminal. You can make them as star as you wish or in delta as your wish. Okay, you can see the three-phase transformers are core type or shell type transformers. Okay, there are two types of transformers you already know. One is core type and shell type. You can manufacture a three-phase transformer in core type as well as in shell type. The basic principle of three-phase transformer is illustrated, in which only primary winding is interconnected in star. Put across three-phase supply. Okay, the primary winding is always in star, but the secondary winding you can connect in star as well as in delta. Okay, the three cores are electrically and mechanically separated by 120 degrees. See, the core of the transformers are separated by 120 degrees. Advantage is saving in iron is due to joint used by the magnetic path between the coil when compared with the three single phase transformers. Okay, if you use three single phase transformer, you need more amount of iron, more amount of steel, but you use a single three phase transformer, the amount of material consumed is decreased. So this is the major advantage of a three phase transformer. The disadvantage is that if one phase becomes disabled, then whole transformer has to be removed from service. If any one phase, let our phase gets damaged in the three-phase transformer, then the complete three-phase transformer has to be removed from service. There are various methods available for transferring three-phase voltages to a higher level voltage. The most common connections are star-to-star connection, delta-to-delta connection, star-to-delta, delta-to-star, and open delta or VV connection. And another one is Scott connection or TT connections. Okay. Now let us move to the next one, which is auto transformers. Okay, it is a transformer with one winding. Okay, here you can see instead of primary and secondary winding, this type of transformers have only one winding. Okay, The winding present is being common to both the primary and secondary. This winding is common for primary and secondary winding. You will be having only one winding. Obviously, in this transformer, primary and secondary are not electrically isolated from each other, as in the case with the two winding transformers. Okay, both primary and secondary winding will be act by the same winding. Okay, you will be having a mechanical lever system which will move the connection point C over the coil A and B. But its operations are similar to those of single phase transformer. The operating principle of the auto transformer is same as that of single phase transformers. Okay, because of one winding, it uses less copper and hence it is very cheaper. AB is the primary winding having N1 turns and BC is the secondary winding having N2 turns. If you considered the whole transformer, that is AB, this will be having the primary winding N1 and BC, that is this turns BC, represents the secondary windings N2. As compared to an ordinary two winding transformers, the same output, an auto transformer has higher efficiency but smaller size. Okay, here you can see the transformer formula is same. Here K is equal to N2 divided by N1 is equal to V2 divided by V1 equal to I1 divided by I2. K value is nearly unity for an auto transformer because you are using a single winding. So uses of auto transformer is nothing but to give a small boost to a distribution cable to correct the voltage drop by increasing or decreasing the C terminal. If you increase up or you increase down, the voltage can be boosted or the voltage can be decreased with the help of an auto transformer. Autostator transformers give up to 50% to 60% of full voltage to an induction motor during the starting time. So, if you want to control the speed of an induction motor, you can use an auto transformer by decreasing the voltage applied to the induction motor. Furnace transformers for getting convenient supply to suit furnace windings from 230 volt. So the furnace represent the heaters. Okay, if you need to set the heater for 100 degrees centigrade, by you can keep the temperature with the help of adjusting the voltage. If you set it for 230 volt, the temperature will be 100 degrees centigrade. If you decrease the voltage to 200 volt, then the voltage will be decreased to 90 degrees centigrade. So by varying the voltage present in the auto transformer, you can control the temperature of the furnace. Interconnecting transformers in 132 kV bar 330 kV systems. So these transformers can be interconnected by 130 kV or 330 kV systems. In control equipments for single phase and three phase electrical locomotives. So auto transformers are being used as a control equipment for single phase as well as three phase electrical locomotives. Next, we will be moving to the problem section. The first problem here is the maximum flux density in the core of a 250 volt bar 3000 volt transformer having 50 hertz single phase transformer is 1.2 Weber per meter square. If the EMF per turn is 8 volt, determine the primary and secondary turns and area of cross section. Here the voltage rating V1 is 250, V2 is 3000 volt, so it is a step up transformer. Next, the frequency is 50 hertz, then F is 50 hertz. Okay. Similarly, the flux density of the transformer is 1.2 Weber per meter square, and the EMF per turn. So per turn EMF is 8 volt. Okay. So the question, you have to find primary and secondary turns and the area of the core. So to find the voltage rating E1 is equal to N1 into EMF induced per turn. Okay, so E is equal to N di by dt. So this is the formula. Here you can use N1 is equal to 250 divided by 8. Oh, so cross multiply this thing. So if you do so, 250 here divided by 8, that is the 8 volts per turn. So you get 32. Okay, so the primary turns ratio, primary turns is N1. N1 is 32. And N2 will be 3000 divided by 8, because the voltage, that is the 3000 volt, is present in the transformer. You know the formula. Okay, the formula is K is equal to N2 divided by N1 into, sorry, N2 divided by N1 into no, equal to, okay, equal to V2 divided by V1. So if you cross multiply, you will get N2. N2 is equal to V2 divided by V1 into N1. So you will get 375. Next, you need to know the area of the core. To find the area of the core, you will be having the flux EMF equation formula, where E is equal to minus 4.44 F N2 BMA. So this A is the area of the core. So cross multiply the equation and find A is equal to E2 divided by minus 4.44 F N2 BM. Here F is 50 Hertz and N2 is nothing but 375, and BM is nothing but 1.2 Webers per meter square. So substitute all the record given values and you can find the area is 0.03 meters square. Next, the second problem is a single phase transformers has 400 primary and 1000 secondary turns. The cross-sectional area of the core is 60 centimeters square. If the primary windings be connected to a 50 hertz supply, so the supply volt rating is 50 hertz, okay, and at a 520 volt, so the voltage rating is 520 volt. The peak value of the flux density in the core, so you have to find the peak value of the flux density in the core, the voltage induced in the secondary winding, and this is the formula you already know. Okay, so you can find the K value. Okay, to find the K value, you can use N2 divided by N1. This is this thing. Okay, N2 divided by N1. If you use this, the K value is 2.5. So E2 divided by E1 is equal to K. So E2 is equal to K into E1. So you will get 2.5 into 520. Here is the voltage, 520 volt given. So you will get 1300 volt as the secondary voltage. Next, you need to find the voltage induced in the secondary winding. So find this, you are having the EMF equation. E1 is equal to 4.44 F N1 BMA. So you know the E1 voltage, which is 520 volt, 4.44 is a constant, F is the frequency 50 Hertz, and N1 is the number of turns in the primary, which is 400. And here the flux density is not known. So you need to find the voltage induced. So here BM is not known. Okay, so you need know the BM. Next, you need the area. Here the area of the core is 60 centimeters square. So you need to put 60 into 10 power minus 4, which is being converted into meters. So now you can find the flux density, that is the maximum flux density, which is BM is equal to 0.976 Weber per meter square. In the next formula, sorry, in the next problem, you are having a 25 kVA transformer, has 500 turns on the primary and 50 turns on the secondary winding. The primary is connected to 3000 volt 50 hertz supply. Find the full load primary and secondary current, the secondary EMF, and the maximum flux in the core, neglecting the leakage drops and a no load primary winding. So all the required things are present in the questions. So you can just apply the formula. First, you need to find the K value, that is the transformation ratio, N2 divided by N1, which is 1 by 10. So next, you can find the current value. which is I, is equal to can be found using the formula P is equal to VI. So to know I, you need to divide P divided by V. So the power rating is nothing but 25 kilovolt kVA. So 25,000 divided by uh, voltage. Voltage is nothing but 3000 volt. So here it is, the primary voltage is 3000 volt. So just substitute, you will get 8.33 amperes. And this is the primary current. To find the secondary current, you can use the formula I1 divided by I2 will be equivalent to K. So by using this, you will get I2 is equal to I1 divided by K. So K, you know, 1 by 10. So substitute the value 10 into 8.33. It is nothing but 83.3 amperes. Next, you are going to find the EMF per turn on the primary side, which is nothing but 3000 divided by 500 equal to 6 volt. Okay, so the per turn EMF voltage is 6 volt. So in a single turn of the transformer, you will be induced by 6 volt. So the secondary EMF 6 into 50 is equal to 300 volt, and the you can find the E2, which is nothing but K into E1, which is 3000 into 1 by 10, which is nothing but 300 volt. So you will get the EMF equation. E1 is equal to 4.44 Fn1 pi m. So the voltage which is found in the primary side is given to be 3000 volt. So you put 3000 volt here, which will be equivalent to 4.44. Frequency is 50 hertz, and the number of turns in the primary is 500. Pi m is not known, so just cross multiply the equation and find pi m, that is the flux produced in the core, is nothing but 27 milliwebers. And here you are having the fourth problem. A single phase transformer has 500 turns in the primary and 1200 turns in the secondary. The cross sectional area of the core is 80 square centimeter. If the primary winding is connected to a 50 hertz supply at a 500 volt, calculate the peak flux density and the voltage induced in the secondary. So the solution is you need to find the amount of flux present in the core. So you can use the EMF equation, which is nothing but E is equal to 4.44 F by M into N1. So by applying this, you will get the maximum flux in the core. Pi M is 1 divided by 222 Webers. Next, you need to find the peak flux density. The peak flux density Bm is equal to pi m F into 80 into 10 power minus 4. Okay, so you apply this formula, you will get 0.563 Weber per meter square. Next, the voltage induced in the secondary is obtained from the transformation ratio or turns ratio. So this is the turns ratio. You know, V2 by V1 is equal to N2 by N1. So you need to know V2. So V2 is equal to N2 by N1 into V1. So apply all the record values. Here N2 is 1200 and N1 is 500 and V1 is also 500. You will get a V2 voltage of 1200 volt.